shift our mind from best in the world to best for the world. Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional. Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional. It creates a new world to mind a shift, intentionality, perceptuality, conceptuality. We are choosing to shift our mind to best for the world, best for our world. Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional. Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional.
Welcome to Best for the World broadcast 2023. It's a beautiful spring morning here in Lomma in south of Sweden. The theme for this year in Best for the World broadcast is Being the Change. And I will read a little introduction here for what Being the Change is. The world as we know it is in a powerful transformation, and all aspects of the world are open for emergence and intentional agency. When you are lost in the darkness, look for the light. Now is time to showcase and experience true agency. Now is the time to see and be the light, so we can be the first of us. My name is Sten Lindqvist, and I'm the your host today. And the producer today is Stella Nordahl from Emprogage. And co-creating this with show with NFCS, Nyföretagarcenter Syd. There is a saying, nobody can do everything, but everyone can do something. And there is no one that this fits better than our guest today. Madeleine Laurin, very welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Stan.
Very welcome to the Best for the World broadcast.
Thank you.
Being the change, what are you thinking about that?
It sounds very easy as an expression, but it's apparently more difficult to follow through. Many people believe that they would like to do something, but it's hard to take that step.
I actually would like to start by asking you, who is Madeleine Laurin? What is your story?
Well, my story is I'm a Swedish woman, grew up in Sweden, in Malmö. I've been working within marketing and mostly in different branches, also on advertising agencies. So I'm quite used to communication, you could say.
Is there anything else you like to tell us about your background?
Well, I'm part of a big family, got plenty of siblings. We are 6 with the same parents, should be said. But I'm also a single mother with some extra bonus kids as well. So it's I'm a family person as well.
And you are where are you from the beginning?
Malmö.
From Malmö.
I'm from Malmö, so I'm Skåning.
Have you lived here all your life?
With some exceptions. I've lived 10 years in Stockholm, 9 years in Gothenburg, a few years in Eslöv, and some abroad. So a little bit of everything. But I'm back in Malmö since 9 years, almost 8 years.
I know you have some very specific interests.
Well, I have plenty of interests.
Yes, tell us.
Which ones are you fishing for?
I know you're very interested in being out in the nature.
Yes, I do.
And I also you like animals.
I do. I am, but I also like focusing on things. And a great thing to practice focusing is shooting, hunting or competition shooting, where you really have to focus to shoot correctly. But I am a great hunter, but I hunt a lot, done so all my life, and I really appreciate being out in the nature and so on. I'm a dog person, have a dog, of course, who joins me in the woods.
I have heard some of your hunting stories before, but maybe we can wait for them a little later in this show.
That's another story.
Yeah. So I know you are. The reason why we like to talk to you, and I think our audience is interested in your work, is of course your work with Sweden Help. But I will go back a little before and talk about being the change, reflecting a little more about that, and a little more about your thoughts of how you can really be the change.
Well, often, as I initially said, it's difficult to take the step in doing something, because many times we believe we had to do really great things. It has to be so big steps or big changes. It's like you walk up to an iceberg and you can't change all of it at the same time. So I usually, for myself, think that I cut the iceberg down into snowballs instead, and I take one ball at a time. Then it's a lot easier, because you can change step by step. You don't have to do it so big, because then it often doesn't happen.
Yeah. I know you have been really committed to helping Ukrainian refugees the last years. So I think it will be really interesting for us to hear the complete story. Where did it all start, Madeleine?
Well, as most of us know today, the war started a bit more than a year ago, and in 24th of February, and all of us, we couldn't avoid seeing at the news all these news sending from Ukraine. What is this? It was really unreal, everything that happened. And after some 10 days or so, I got sick of just zapping around on TV and being met by these catastrophe news. And I said, I had to do something. I can't just sit here in my sofa doing nothing. And I found a post on Facebook where somebody said that they need bananas and water at the migration service here in Malmö to give to the Ukrainians, because they come here and they have nothing and they're hungry. They've been traveling for a long time. And I thought, well, that I can do. So I went down to one of our food stores here, and I filled up the trunk of my car with water and bananas and chocolate and stuff that I thought this might be very popular, some fruit. And off I went to migration service, and I was standing there with my car, and I thought, okay, but what am I doing here? How would they know that I'm here? What is this? And out came a Ukrainian, and he saw what I was doing, so he went in again and he fetched all the others, and suddenly I had a long queue of Ukrainian refugees who were so thankful for every little thing they got. And they asked me about other things, if I had a hairbrush or a razor and such things, and I thought, wow, don't they have that? So after half hour, 45 minutes, the trunk was empty. And it was really full when I started. So this went quick, and I thought, well, I have to come here again. So this was on a Friday. So on Sunday, I came again, and then I had filled up the car with more items that I heard they asked for. And it went off. It took less than an hour again. And then there were some other helpers also there who had moving boxes full of clothes out on the pavement. So the Ukrainians went there and they picked up clothes from these boxes. But I thought, I mean, it was in the beginning of March, it was quite cold outside, and I thought, this is not nice. There's no dignity in this, to stand here. These people are like you and me. And so I had this bright idea that we were close to a big shopping center, and I also knew that there were a lot of empty stores in that center. So on Sunday evening, I Googled who is the owner now for this property and who is the manager, and I sent him an email on Sunday evening. And on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, he called me and he said, "Hi, Madeleine, I like your idea. We're on."
Wow. Maybe you should tell the audience here a little where we are in Malmö, and so it will be easier to follow where you are. Maybe you can describe. We are in the middle of Malmö, aren't we?
We are in the suburbs of Malmö, so to say. The migration service has a special service facility there, and just across the street there is a large shopping mall called Jägersro Center, and that's where I thought it could be easy to start up something. The thing is that the Ukrainians who came, they didn't have any money either, so they couldn't go there and shop for themselves. They were really empty-handed in all matters possible. So what we did, after it was 2 weeks after my email to this facility or to this property manager, that I suddenly stood there with a store of 120 square meters full of clothes, a changing room, and opened up for the Ukrainians who could just walk in there, try out the clothes they needed. Everything was for free. We were giving so many clothes and things from Swedish people around here. It was fantastic, the response we got. So then I realized that they needed also hygiene products. So I asked for money from around friends and in my networks and so on. So I got a little money, and I went directly to the store and bought shampoo, conditioners, razors, nail cuticle things, diapers for kids, everything that we forget that these are needed in your daily hygiene process. And this was so fantastic. They really appreciated all this. To see all these people's genuine happiness, it was so much love. It was fantastic.
It seems that the generosity of the common people has been a big contribution for this project. Can you say anything more about the sponsorship? Is there also companies helping you, or is it only the citizen, or how are you working with sponsors on this one?
We're working quite wide. It's both private people who sponsor us with and it's everything from just 100 kroners to a larger amount. We have some smaller companies who contribute with products which are needed. And then last summer, I also received from a foundation a fantastic amount that has given us the possibility to arrange events for the Ukrainians here, to do transports to Ukraine with necessities. And we also have money left because I try to keep them for good things. So now we're looking what we can do for the Ukrainians who are here. There's always something somewhere.
So if I understand this right, you started this shop.
Yes.
And how is the connection with Sweden Help?
I started the shop at the same time. I got connected with a guy called Alan Kalchaka, who's married to Ukrainian. He lives outside Skurup. He had just started up some idea about Sweden Help, and so we got connected. And from him, I got all the clothes, and we started this cooperation and started up this organization, Sweden Help, together with a few other people. So it's a totally new organization, but we have already spread through all the south of Sweden in a couple of places.
And I know you have a Facebook channel and also a web page.
Yes, and
Instagram as well. So you can find everything about Sweden Help there.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is your personal biggest learning doing this? Because it's 1 year now.
It's 1 year now.
Yesterday, actually.
More or less on the day. Yes, exactly. I've learned more than I know myself, actually. But it's challenging working because we've been working with volunteers all the time. We don't get any money for ourselves. We do this voluntarily, and I've been working full time at the side. Or at the side. I've been working full time. This is supposed to be at the side. But I've had a lot of Ukrainians helping me in the store, in the pop-up store, voluntarily, and it makes them feel very proud and happy to do something. They're in a very awkward situation, so this has been a lot of psychological help as well doing this work. What I've learned is that they call me the boss, I don't see me as a boss, but it was a kind of a leader driving this pop-up store. But it's also when you're managing volunteers, it's quite different than managing paid employees. Because you really have to coach them doing things in a fun way. You can never demand things from them because they can just say, I'm not interested, I'm leaving. So this has been very challenging for me, challenging but giving for me and learning from me a lot.
I know you are a natural leader, Madeleine, so don't think this will be any other way, but what have you learned about leadership, your personal leadership about this?
A lot of flexibility, adjusting to the situation, communication with the people involved, listening a lot, trying to involve people, taking their own responsibility in the whole, not just running off by yourself deciding things, because that doesn't work in this kind of organization. So it's been very giving for me personally, absolutely.
Interesting. So, what has the reaction been from other organizations in Malmö? Have you any other contact with other organizations?
We have a couple of them, yes. We are all cooperating in one way or another because we all have the same goal, and that is to help the refugees. So absolutely we do that. We also have this other part of our organization that we transport aid or necessities of different things to Ukraine, to hospitals and such. So we cooperate with a lot of other organizations who are specialists in driving to Ukraine with our things.
Are there any cooperation with Malmö Stad specifically, or?
Not right now. We have, but it's a little with Medborgarskolan to be able to start study circles for the Ukrainians.
So what's happening exact now with Sweden Help and your project?
Well, we are still working on, we're focusing a lot on the export to Ukraine with food. We have delivered more than, I think, 1,200 food boxes to Ukraine during this year, and that's very needed. We collect a lot of medical necessities to hospitals, so we have received a lot of things there as well that we transport. We don't transport clothes to Ukraine because they don't need it.
Okay.
They have a lot already, but that is asked for here in Sweden. But now most of the Ukrainians who have come here to south part of Sweden, at least, they are getting established. The children go to school. They learn Swedish. The parents they have learned quite a lot of Swedish. Some of them are really good at it, and some of them are getting work or getting their own jobs to support themselves. These are very proud people. They don't want to live on contributions. They want to support themselves, to feel that they are humans, and to feel that they also contribute to the community.
So what have you seen is the biggest challenge for the refugees here and coming in Sweden?
Initially, I think the biggest one was the language issue. I think 10% of the Ukrainians who came here spoke some English, but it was not very good all the time. But all the others, it was Ukrainian or Russian, and that doesn't work in Sweden at the same time. So that made them a little handicapped in getting a job, because most jobs, at least you need to speak English. But they have learned a lot on the way, and then a lot of us, we communicate through apps. Internet and the different apps are actually very worthful in this situation. But then also we have a bureaucracy in Sweden, which is good in many matters, but it makes it very difficult for the Ukrainians because most of them have a lot of drive. They want to do things, but the bureaucracy maybe slows it up, and it's difficult for them to navigate between rules and possibilities and so on.
What is your reflection about? Is there any quick fix we could do from Sweden, from Swedish side, or anyone?
I don't believe in quick fix actually, because that in this specific matter it needs to be fixed in the long run. even if the war should end within shortly, nobody knows, but if it does, it's still not easy to move back for the Ukrainians. Many of them has established them here in Sweden, and they want to give their children a good life here, at least an education, and then maybe they want to go back and build up Ukraine again. Absolutely, but they need to get the knowledge in how to do it. Maybe we can contribute to that. Maybe, but that's in the long run. That's no quick fix.
So what I understand is that the next step here is to find ways of finding a job, navigate how to study in the Swedish system, and so on. How about entrepreneurship? Are there any are there any Ukrainian interested in starting companies?
I've heard a lot of them asking for it. Some of them had companies in Ukraine, and they come here and they would like to start up. But there is this language issue, and also the bureaucracy, and can I start up, and what does it? How do I do it? So I think that is one of the next steps I would like to contribute with, to help them establish here in a way.
Because I know there are already some projects going on in Malmö together with NFCS, the organization, and maybe there is something to explore for Sweden Help as well.
I think that would be a great idea. That would be fantastic of helping the Ukrainians here. It's also in the bottom, for me, it's giving the refugees dignity, and dignity is being able to support yourself, to being able to contribute, and to be respected as a person. I think that's very important. They don't want to live on others. They want to do something. And if I can help them with that from Sweden Help, that would be fantastic.
Because entrepreneurship is one way of finding, you creating your own future, your own company, and that's one way of living, of course. And we have this organization that can support and help. So let's talk more about that later on. I will say here.
I would very much appreciate doing something there for them.
If you want to help Sweden Help to help, how can you contribute as a company or a private person or an organization? What's the best way of helping Sweden Help?
Well, the best way is to go to Facebook, follow our group there. That's where we have the most actual information. There we also publish what we need when we do special collections to get the right things, because we have dialogues with Ukraine, so we understand what they need specifically. So go there. There you also find our switch number. You are able to switch to us. We have an established organization, so it's all very transparent. And that just ask us, contact us if there is anything. Maybe you and your company have products that could be of interest for us to contribute with, or knowledge in some way that you can contribute with, mentorships, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. I think there is a lot of things we can do if we just help each other in this kind of project. And I'm so proud of you, Madeleine, doing this.
Thank you.
And I know we can talk a lot about it, but I think it's almost time to end this conversation. And if you want to make a difference in both big and small ways, what are your best tips?
Take one step at a time. It doesn't have to be a great step. Just take one little step. It gives. It's like walking. If you put one foot in front of the other, suddenly you move forward. You don't have to take big steps.
Yeah.
So take small steps.
Yeah. And with these words of wisdom, maybe, I would like to say thank you very much, Madeleine, and very good luck with everything.
Thank you so
and
much.
hope we can continue this conversation later on and see what's happening.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are creating the world we're now living in. We are competing in. We are repeating in. We are believing in. It's time for us to shift our mind from best in the world to best for the world. Make Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional. Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional. It creates a new world to mind a shift, intentionality, perceptuality, conceptuality. We are choosing to shift our mind to best for the world, best for our world. Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional. Make decisions intentional, to take decisions intentional, making decisions intentional.